Live. Let me move this over here as we prepare. Live. We are live. All right.
We are live.
And we're up and we're ready. And we'll be
Mm-mm-mm.
getting started soon. Let all the notifications go out. I did post this on Instagram. Um, and that's the one thing, like, we could do Instagram live, but StreamYard doesn't let you stream to Instagram.
Hmm.
So I put what's it called? Not a reel. What's that? The IG. You know the things that we
Story?
say for, yeah, there you go. I put a story.
How do you say
How
story?
do you say story? Thank you.
Story.
I put a
Okay.
story on Instagram letting everybody know we go live every Tuesday at noon. Every Tuesday at noon. We have a lot going on. So I don't think we're going to start doing like a post every week like we used to, like Tuesday at noon. This is just set it in your calendar, or if you missed this one and you want to catch the next one, you'll know we'll be here every Tuesday at noon. Probably at least, through the summer. Um, we'll see. We'll see. We got vacations. Snuffy
Yeah,
is back. We'll talk about that in a
I'm back.
second.
Hmm.
Snuffy will be gone again.
I will be gone again.
So we'll have Joshua might be sitting back in again for that, but we'll deal with holiday season, and there'll be some maybe a Tuesday or something that gets missed. Um, I'll be hopefully taking some time off in July, 1 week with my family, so we might miss that Tuesday. But other than that, it's every Tuesday at noon Eastern Standard Time. That's when we're gonna go live, and I think one of the reasons why we'll do this is because during the we had a pitch. We had the pleasure to pitch. I can talk about this while people come in. We had the pleasure to pitch at the 10K project. They do a Bet on Black pitch, and it's awesome. It's a group of investors. The network, I think, is about maybe 2,000 different investors that are part of that community, and they allow one founder every once a week to basically pitch their regulation crowdfunding campaign to their network, and they give you almost as much time as you want. Like
Ooh.
typically, they say it's about 30 to 35 minutes of you pitching, and then you answer some questions. Um, I went in for like 45 minutes
Ooh.
because it's been a while since I've had a chance to like pitch. Some of the other pitch contests that I've done in the past, you got 10 minutes, you have 15 minutes, and I can do it. But I was really happy to have the space to like talk about all the intricate parts of Trello Technologies and all the things that we're trying to do. Because it's not just a hardware product. It's not just for cannabis. There's a long term like vision and mission that we're trying to see through. And if I really want to express that, I need more than 10 minutes, more than 15 minutes. So they gave me the chance to do that for 45 minutes. And then after that, they asked a series of questions. The host was fantastic. She gave me the space to like answer all the questions. She answered, things that were maybe already answered. She skipped over, so she made sure that I only answered the questions that
Mm.
needed to be answered. And then afterwards, they are allowed to go to our campus and did that. Investors, people that wrote, let's a Wi-Fi signal issue. Am I good? I'm
No,
not
I
bleeding.
just I just chatted you. You're freezing again.
Okay, I'm freezing again. Oh boy. Let me know when it comes back up. Hopefully, it will be
You,
soon.
you're up. You're just kind of fuzzy and pixelated.
Well, you can hear me, right?
Yeah, of course we can hear your delicious voice.
Yeah. Hopefully that clears up. Yeah, we just changed some stuff. We changed the modem to a new location, so um, I'll have to get that squared away before the next time we go live. But yeah, that was the 10K pitch project. Really, it was a great time. I was toast afterwards. I was
I
exhausted. I
bet.
mean, an hour and a half of talking at night, 8 p.m. to 9:30 at night. Um, and usually my energy level is kind of low by then, so I had to really pace myself during the day. But it was great. It was a great opportunity. We're also members now. Part of the
Oh,
thing of being able to pitch is that you become a member of the 10K project community. So I get all the emails and all the other things that are going on. And it's not just regulation crowdfunding. They talk about investing, real estate, crypto, stocks, like
mm.
all of that type of stuff. It was really, it's really a great group. I'm glad to be a part of it, and I'm glad that Tawana Rivers is her name. I'm glad she reached out. So if there's anybody out there that's doing regulation crowdfunding, founder of color, wants to pitch to the community, please check them out. 10kproject.com, I believe is the URL.
All right, let me look at it.
All right.
10K
10K project.
I'll put it in our comments. 10K
Yes,
projects. Oh, that's not it.
Yeah.
Record label.
And
All
if you know of any founders, she did say though that most of the founders have been men. Not a lot of women founders, Black founders have been able, but this month of May they're trying to, like, they found a few, so it's going to be like almost, I think, a woman every week this month.
Oh, that's nice.
But yeah, so spread the word. They're out there, and because crowdfunding is all about who sees you. So having a platform that allows people to be able to see you is key. Like, if people don't see your campaign page, and it's all for naught.
Right. Just put it in the comments for those who are interested.
Sweet.
Check them out.
Thank you. And Snuffy is back.
Oh, that's me, Snuffy G. Snuffy G is back.
That's right.
It's good to be back. It's good to be back. I had a great time, though. Me and the family went to Curacao, just right above Venezuela. It's a Dutch-owned island. It's very nice.
Mm-hmm.
The major language is, I don't even know. I think Spanish and Dutch. I heard a lot of Spanish, heard a lot of Dutch, a lot of French.
Mm-hmm.
It was just really beautiful. The water's beautiful. The people are great. I don't know. It was just nice to kind of unplug. And this is the first time, Asia, that I wasn't on my phone, like, at all. I left it in the safe in the room,
You
and
did
I did.
the whole time, or like just like, did you check in once a day? Like,
I checked in once a day. Like, when we got back to the room to get ready for dinner, I would just like go in and just see like what was happening. If anybody needed me, nobody needed me. Depressing, but it was good.
no, we needed you.
Oh,
We just left you alone so that you could recuperate.
I appreciate that. But like, it was nice just to unplug and just enjoy the ocean. We did some snorkeling. There's like a reef, a man-made reef that kind of encapsulated the resort, so you were protected by the angry sea, and it was just really nice, really nice. I'd go back again.
How was the food?
So the food, see, when I like to travel, I like to experience like the country, the people, what they're eating, what they're experiencing. We were basically in a bubble. The food was okay. The breakfast was like meh, but there were 5 different restaurants on the resort.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a choice of almost, not all 5 restaurants were open every night, but we got to try each and every one of them. They had like hibachi for one night too.
Mm-hmm.
So that was fun. The food was good. Like, the dinners were good. The
Yeah.
lunch was good. I mean,
How was the
hamburgers,
fruit?
hot dogs. The fruit was good.
Yeah.
Very limited in the assortment on the resort. Like, there was cantaloupe, watermelon, oranges, nothing. Oh, and papaya, I think, once, but nothing crazy.
Yeah. No berries or anything.
No berries. A lot of coconuts outside of the island,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean outside of the resort,
Resort?
but not in the resort. Yeah, which I thought was odd.
Yeah.
But it's a very I don't know if anybody's been to Curacao, but there's just like any island, or even here in the United States, you have your poor areas, your more what do you call it?
Affluent.
Yes, affluent areas. I was kind of surprised, because it is Dutch owned, that there was a lot of poor areas, and I'm like, huh. Like, I just see them as just being affluent too, and kind of like making sure their people are taken care of. And I'm not saying that they're not being taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
I just saw a lot of like half construction, half like, and the houses are right next to each other too. Nobody has any type of like yard or anything.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Well,
and I did it.
colonization runs
Oh well,
rampant even for
there's
the
that.
Dutch. So,
I
whenever there's
mean,
colonization, there's going to be someone who gets pushed into an area that's not as affluent. So,
yeah, 100%. I was thinking that the whole time. I'm like, colonization, man, some crazy shit.
hmm
Um, but yeah, no, I'd go back. I definitely would go back there.
nice.
Um, what I did like, and I don't know if I'm saying you did like or whatever, but I like that there was an opportunity for people who lived on the island to come into the resort and take advantage of the amenities that the resort gives to their guests.
Mm,
I know there's a lot of people who don't like that. A lot of the guests who are
I
like, too
bet.
many
Yeah.
locals, too many whatever, and it's like,
Colonization.
what are you doing? Like they should be. We were there for Mother's Day, and a lot of people from the island came to enjoy the ocean with
hmm
like their families and stuff. So it was really nice. It was really nice to see just everyone having a good time, you know. But yeah, people, white people, I don't know, lady.
Well,
It's everywhere. It's not
it,
just here.
it's global. It's a global
It
thing for sure.
it's a global problem. The white
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyway.
Well, I was asking about the food because I was wondering what the variety of the fruit would be. Like, doing some of the research for some of the other Caribbean islands, I find that like 90% of the food is shipped from somewhere else to the
Hmm.
island.
Hmm.
Um, and what's that? There's a bunch of treaties that affect that, and I didn't know if Curacao was one of those places that were impacted by these type of treaties. But if it's still Dutch owned, maybe not. I'll look into it and find out more. But um, yeah,
Yeah,
interesting.
even veggies were limited in the resort. I think I saw broccoli once,
That's
and the
it.
rest of it, yeah, there wasn't a lot of like there was no spinach, there was no other, there was salad stuff, but it wasn't like there was some arugula,
hmm
but it wasn't.
Not a lot of sides that were vegetables, like
No,
asparagus or anything like that.
no, no, or carrots even. No,
I
and and
wonder,
and and the lettuce was like, the iceberg lettuce. It wasn't.
wasn't the nutritious lettuce?
Yeah, it
The
wasn't the
iceberg lettuce
nutritious
is a
lettuce.
waste of time.
Well, it's a hydrator, so at least it's water.
Well, yeah, right. Yeah, I guess that you are getting your water intake, but I mean, you can get water intake from a lot of other cucumbers. I mean, that's like you get water intake and you get some good nutrients from cucumbers.
Yeah,
Um,
there were cucumbers, but it wasn't. Yeah, very limited, very limited.
yeah. Well, I'm glad you're back. I'm glad
Me
you're
too.
back. There's been, some stuff that's been happening here. I'm sure you caught wind of it. I
I
wanted to
have.
talk. We're going to talk today about a couple of things. First is this baby formula shortage. I wanted to just touch on that just a little bit, and then we're going to talk about fertilizer prices that are rising. Again, they've risen before. This is not like a new thing, but I wanted to touch on that. And then we'll share a new video that we will be posting maybe later on this week about our consultation services and the different type of approach that we're going to be taking with how we consult when it comes to sustainability and climate. But yeah, let's talk about this baby formula shortage. Let me pull some stuff up here. Switch this up. Switch this up.
Mm-mm-mm.
So here we go. My understanding, and Denise, please jump in and add your understanding too, and then we can talk about it a little bit more, is that this company, Abbott, had some issue with one of their plants, had to shut production down, impacted about 40% of all the baby formula that we see on our shelves across multiple stores. So one example that I heard was a woman who went to 11 different stores to find baby formula.
11?
11 different stores to find baby formula. Couldn't find it. Couldn't find it. Another woman was talking about how she was crying in the aisle. And our son Amir is 13 months. Yeah, 13 months. So about 3 days ago. And
Mm-mm.
luckily, my wife is able to breastfeed. But not everybody has that option. I wasn't breastfed. My mom was not able to do that for me. And a lot of women unfortunately can't. So I mean, I couldn't imagine if we didn't have that option. And it's not like in this article here, I think if I can zoom in a little bit, you can read the little line at the bottom that says, could resume in about 2 weeks and storage shelves will be restocked several weeks later.
Could.
Could. That's not, that's not, um, that's not going to do it. That's not going to do
No.
it for the people that were standing in line. And I mean, I don't have, I'm not saying that I have an answer to this. One of the things that um, I want to highlight when it comes to this type of stuff is that we are vulnerable. Like, this is baby formula. This, and I know that the government's trying to figure out something to do, but weeks is a long time. And there are people that are out there trying to find, ways to dilute their baby formula, making homemade baby formula solutions. I've heard some like concerns about going in that direction. Um, what do you do? It's just this reliance that we have on these large companies um, that can like impact 40%. Like, how did that happen? How did that happen?
I I don't even know what to say about this. I was reading something that they're talking about ordering baby formula through Amazon, and people in Canada are like, "We're not having this problem. It's only you guys down there. We're not having this issue."
Mm.
So you change your little delivery or wherever you're looking at, not delivery, from the US to Canada, and there's plenty of baby formula to be shipped to you. This shouldn't happen in the United States. This is one of many things that shouldn't be happening in the United States.
Shouldn't
We
happen
could
anywhere.
it shouldn't happen anywhere, but it shouldn't happen, period, right? Like what's happening? Okay, there was some bacteria found, I think it was back in February. Figure it out. Like what's happening? And I think it goes to too when we were talking earlier, Asia, about monopolies. There's only one or two baby formula producing companies that are doing this, that they sell to the hospitals. So when new mothers get that formula from the hospital, Similac and Enfamil and others, then they go home with that. And so when they go shopping, they want the same thing because
Hmm.
their baby's responding to it well. It's what the hospital gave, so that must be good. And so they stick with that. And it's really disturbing that we create this narrative around one or two companies and forget about the other companies, the other even mom and pop shops, the other things that is just as good. But because we are conditioned to say, well, if certain people are getting it, then I should be getting it, and that's what I should be feeding my baby. The
Yeah.
hospital sells it to me, then it has to be good. Well, the hospital has their own strategy too
They
about
have a contract, and
contracts, right, right.
it's about,
So
how much profit can be made. And the thing about the monopoly that we were talking about, as a business owner, we have a lot of different materials that we have to source. And one of the things that we try to do is, and this is to reduce risk, and we'll talk a little bit more about that, but one of the things we try to do with all these different materials we have to source is try to figure out how can you not need to get things from so many different companies. Like if the least the goal is to have the least amount of different companies that you have to buy things from, but you want to have options for each of those. So like for example, I want to buy all of my screws from one company, like all of our screws, all our washers, all of our hardware from one company. But I want to also have like a backup to that company because if that
mm,
company something happens to them, then I know I can go to the next person. So when it comes to home, people don't thinking about this.
you're breaking up again, my friend.
Oh no, here we go.
Here we go.
Here we go. It's coming back.
Yep.
Okay, great. You think that you have access to this, but it's not consistent, and things like this can happen. And I don't know what happened. I don't know how this happened. I don't know that it's an easy fix to change. To me, the way to reduce this from happening again is to have as many players in the space and to
Hmm.
stop, like you were saying, pigeonholing mothers into only using a certain type of baby formula, because then their kids get they're used to it. Their stomachs get used to it. So to switch it up to something else, the kid may have a reaction to something else now. So this is not an easy thing to shift away from.
And I believe I don't want to say for sure, but I believe there's restrictions too on reselling baby formula. So mothers who no longer need baby formula, I think there's some restrictions that they can sell it or they can sell it privately. But then people are like, I don't know if I want somebody else's baby formula, even
Yeah.
though,
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah. Has the seal been broken? All that. Yeah.
Right.
This is not good.
The
But
word shortage should not be used when it comes to things that sustain human life.
yeah, we have plenty of it. It's just logistics and processing and the way that we structure the system.
Mm.
Yeah. Um, so the other thing that's happening, fertilizer prices are rising. Um, but I say again, um, and because this has happened before, around 2008, 2010. If I scroll down just a little bit,
Yeah,
you can
that first
see
line right there.
you can see this chart. Here we go. Um, July 1st, 2008. Price of DAP,
Jeez.
urea, all of these were up around the same time. So we're hitting that same climax again. And I think one of the things specifically for the cannabis industry, uh, people are, there wasn't a lot of cannabis going on in 2008. So now
Mm.
people that grow cannabis, and cannabis is a very nutrient like heavy plant. It's not like growing lettuce, where you can get away with a very small amount of fertilizer. It requires a lot more, and some people are in this line, in this thought process of the more fertilizer you put into it, the more you get from it, which is true, but it's also not beneficial to, you know, waste and the planet and all those other things. You don't really, because the plant can only take up so much. The plant can only pull up so much. So you don't want to just be putting fertilizer into the water and letting it waste and run into the sewers. So there's a lot of different types of ways that people do fertilizer. Like we, for example, use a recirculating deep water culture system where we put a batch of nutrient fertilizer a solution together. We supply it to the plants, and over time, that amount of fertilizer drops so that you have to switch it out and put a new batch of solution in. So even with that process, like we're wasting some fertilizer,
Mm.
but not as much as the other process where maybe if you're growing outdoors and growing in soil and you're just pouring it on the soil, whatever gets spread out and doesn't get contained, that's waste immediately.
Mhm.
The plant doesn't
Mhm.
even get a chance to even access it. So indoor growing can help you to reduce how much fertilizer you need, but it does not mean that you're not going to waste some anyway. Uh, and then the other thing that you got to consider is, and I think a lot of people, maybe a lot of more novice, maybe beginner growers, might not know that your pH level allows for your plants to be able to pull up a certain amount of nutrients. So if your pH levels are off, your plant can't pull up and eat. It can't pull it up. And if you don't check your pH often, then you just have nutrients in there that are just sitting there, and the plant's not able to eat them. So you wind up wasting it
Mm.
as well. So there are definitely ways that you can create your grow and your cultivation facility to try to reduce how much fertilizer you waste. But the prices are rising again, and they've done this before. They'll rise again. They may rise even to a higher extent. I'm not saying that it's going to hit this and not go more. It definitely could go up a lot more. I've heard people talking about, price gouging. It's the
Mm.
Ukraine, it's the coal, it's, China decided that they're no longer China's not shipping any fertilizer anymore
No.
to hold on to their own supply so that they can feed their population. Um, there's just so many different reasons that things will change. And I think when it comes to sustainability for us, when we talk about sustainability, I look at it more from a risk perspective. Yeah, it's great to be sustainable and to not have to use as much fertilizer because your operating costs go down. But that means when things like this happen, it doesn't impact you as much. Like having the reliance on all these different things, all the fertilizer, the energy, the more that you can have your own supply, get your own solar panels, figure out your
Mm.
own way to have these materials, the less of an exposure you have to all these changes and fluctuations in the system, because they're going to happen. So I don't know that the cannabis space has experienced this before. The food agribusiness farmers, they've all experienced this back in 2008. But for cannabis, it's different. And I think if it doesn't go back down and the wholesale price of cannabis keeps going down, then this is going to really become a pain point for some growers.
Hey, talk to me about some compost. Like, can you make your own specific compost for this stuff that's rich in all the nutrients that are required for cannabis?
Well, yeah, but composting only works for soil. So if you're working with soil, then yes, I mean
Hmm.
you can compost. Compost also takes time. You can't
Hmm.
just it takes time for you to break down the waste to get it to turn into a really good nutrient dense compost solution. You could buy more of it, but that's the cost. So if you're
Yeah,
talking about like making your own compost to try to like get off of the get out of the system, that's not something that you can just turn around tomorrow and say, I'm just
sure.
going to
Right,
use my compost. Plus,
right.
if you're growing indoors, um, you typically don't want to use like you can use it, and there are organic hydroponic liquid and powder solutions out there. But if you're going to try to do it yourself, like I've got a compost bin in the back of the house. Um, there's no way I'm taking that and bringing it inside. That's for
Right,
outdoor use
right.
only.
Okay, gotcha.
So yeah, it's not as easy to like flip the switch as you might want it to be. Yeah.
We have a comment. Carl had said 27 to 31 days. Not, I don't know what that means.
Maybe
Is
he's
he?
talking. You can
Oh,
share
yeah,
more, Carl, if you want.
yeah. That'd be great.
I
And
know
thanks for
Carl.
joining us, Carl. You do?
Yeah, he's north of the border. Hi, Carl. Good to see you
Oh,
again. Yeah,
oh.
yeah.
Send us some
um,
baby formula, Carl.
yeah. Apparently, you're able to get it better than quicker than we are. Um, but yeah, it's rising again, and I think we talked a little bit about the baby formula and the reliance on all these different things, and it's not easy to become self-sustainable. It takes
Mm,
time.
mhm.
Um, we as a family, myself, we're trying, and it took a little bit every year. You're able to do a little bit more and more, but we rely on each other for so much, and we rely on the
Oh,
companies and the system for so much. And there are some people that are like, I'm done. I'm walking away. Thank you. 27 to 31 days for the compost. Yeah. So you can't just go, I'm going to use it,
right.
tomorrow. Um, so yeah, not a quick fix, not a quick fix to this. Um, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I did want to also, I don't know, Denise, are you good with this topic? We can go on to the next.
I'm good. Well, I do have one question.
Sure, sure.
So it says fertilizer risen 30% since the start of 2022,
Hmm.
following last year's 80% surge. Is that 80% on? Is that 30% on top of the 80%? Like, is it? What does the chart say? I can't really see the chart. So is
Yeah,
that like 100 and something? Like, what
let me
is
see.
that?
I can,
110%?
there you go. I can zoom in a little bit more. Is that better for you?
Yeah, that's better. So that's on top of the 80% that already rose last year.
Yeah, yeah. And you
Interesting.
went up,
Yeah, it didn't really go down that
again.
much.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Um, and
Ugh.
like I said, there's multiple factors that are driving this, and I try not to get into a lot of people when it comes to like sustainability, climate change. You see people that are yelling that this is all fear pushing, like we don't have the shortages. It's not really that big of a deal. It's the news, it's the media making it into something.
Yeah.
That might be true. Nonetheless, the price is higher. Like at the end of the day, when you go to the store and you buy it, the price is higher. So what do you do if you are a cultivator? You have to figure out another alternative, or be smarter about how you use the fertilizer. So I try to focus more on what can I do. Thank you. What can I do to reduce my reliability, my reliance on it,
Right.
so that I'm not impacted by it as much. And that's the way we like to do it for our clients. I've been consulting since I came out of college. First job out of college was a field engineer, walking around different industries and trying to figure out how to reduce risk. Did that for about 15, 16 years. Did some ag tech stuff on the side, and then fully transitioned into ag tech. But it's all coming full circle for me right now.
Mm,
Um,
that's a good
so
segue into this.
yeah. It's all coming full circle. So we did a to share with people exactly our unique approach. When I talk about sustainability, I'm not talking about. I'm not so much focused on the impact to the bottom line. That's great. We definitely need that. I'm also focused on reduction of reliance on all of these different changes, all these different things that impact that impact your expenses, and then will also impact your profit and your longevity and your ability to continue producing. So yeah, thanks, Carl. A lot of good information that he's sharing there in the
Yeah.
comments. Anybody that's checking this out, um, please take a look. I know Carl's been doing some stuff up in Calgary, I believe. Um,
Mm.
Correct me, Carl, if I'm wrong. But yeah, I believe that's where he is doing some great stuff up in that area. Um, so yeah, let's show this video.
Yeah, just one more thing about
Changes in
Oh
policy.
yeah, let me
Canada.
pause. Let me pause.
So I met a woman when I was away, and we were talking about the weather, and she said that it was about 90 degrees up in Canada. I don't know where she lived in Canada, but I'm like, for Canada to reach 90 degrees on a certain day is just insane to me. She's like, it will only happen like, once or twice, and then it will go back to a normal thing. But she's like, it's 90 degrees right now, because we were talking about how hot it was when we were coming back on Saturday. It was like almost 90 here in Boston, and we are like, oh man. And she's like, yeah, that I just heard from my sister in Canada, and it's like that up there too.
Mm,
So yeah, in Ontario, thank you.
Vancouver,
Oh,
Ontario. That's right.
oh, yeah,
Gotcha.
crazy.
Okay, cool.
Thank you, Carl.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it definitely Canada's so huge. Who's to say? And you know, uh, there are parts of Canada where the weather changes like every 2 weeks. But there's a map that I had. What was it called? Climatecentral.org. Climatecentral.org. They have those maps, and we pulled this up maybe about on the
Yeah.
first or the second live, where they show the rise in temperature globally, so you can kind of look at every different country and figure out how quickly will the temperature rise. And the temperature will rise in Canada, but it's going to become a lot more, and even some of the parts of like the northwest, it'll be better for growth for some crops, because they're going to have warmer weather, where it used to be colder year round, it won't be so cold. So um, yeah, lot of things are changing. But so you have to figure out, where are you, what's going to change for where you're at, your situation. How can you reduce your reliance on all these different things, these rising energy costs. I'll just play the video. It's only about a couple minutes, it's not that long. And then we can talk a little bit more.
Growing quality food and plant medicine in a profitable manner just isn't easy, especially when things are constantly changing. I'm talking about changes in fertilizer and energy prices, changes in policy on a federal, a state, or a local level, and the changes in our climate. All of these changes can impact whether or not you make a profit, maintain your customer base and your market share, or in some cases, even operate at all. It helps to become as efficient as possible, so you're not relying on all these external factors. And the best solutions will allow you to reduce your costs associated with materials and giving you an increased profit. And the added benefit is that you can do so knowing you're doing your part to protect the environment, our Mother Earth, which we all share. It's a win for everyone to be sustainable and efficient with our resources. That's why at Trella Technologies, we work with our clients to help them identify those current inefficiencies and potential risks that will have a negative impact on their production and their business. We then provide cost-effective solutions to help with implementation to ensure a smooth transition into a more efficient and sustainable model. Our team has over 25 years of risk consulting experience, and we know that every situation is unique. So that's why the first step is to get to know your business, your mission, and your goals. If you want to know more about how we can help your business thrive through all of this uncertainty, schedule a free 20-minute consultation so we can learn more about your needs and offer solutions to help move you forward in a more sustainable manner. A link to book a meeting is right below. We look forward to speaking with you.
You want to put that in the comments too, a link?
Yeah, it's on Vimeo right now. It's not on the YouTube version. It's not updated. So let me put the Vimeo version on. Or actually, you know what? Better yet, go to the website. This website right here. I will put that link in the chat. And yeah, Carl, if you're still hanging with us and you want to catch up, please. I know you got some interesting things going on. We'd love to hear about it. Let's connect over a call. Here is I'll add the website so you can see that. So here's the new page on the website. It talks about our sustainability and climate risk consulting. There's the video again if you want to check it out. Here's a link to book that free meeting, that free 20-minute consultation. And here are the different things that we're going to be talking about: reducing energy and consumption, scaling your production for people that are looking to go to vertical stacked tiered growing. A lot of people started out with just one level. Now that when things get more competitive and you want to stay ahead of the game, you might want to do multiple stacks. We can help you figure out the best solution with that. Natural disaster risk management. Oh, pop up, not that. Natural disaster risk management. That is something that we bring to the table that's different than a lot of sustainability consulting firms. I've had over 15 years of dealing with natural disaster risk, the impacts of floods, hurricanes, earthquake. I worked for some of the top insurance companies, AIG, FM Global, Liberty Mutual. And that I didn't just work for them. I actually wrote some of the engineering standards for some of those companies. This is like was my bread and butter before I got into the ag tech cannabis space. So like I said, it's all coming full circle for me. And one of the reasons why I'm so concerned and I talk about, the stuff that's messed up, we talked about baby formula, we talked about fertilizer prices, is because I want people to know things change. Things change. They do not stay the same. So you have to think ahead. You have to be like 5-10 years, like thinking ahead of what could happen that's going to impact my business. Especially if you're talking about wealth generation and in the future of your family. You got to think ahead. You can't just think about, great, let me get into this space, make some money for the next 2 years and bounce. Maybe you can. Maybe you can do that if you want to. But if you're thinking about longevity, you got to think ahead. So that we also help with choosing the right type of tech solutions and equipment. Definitely one of the things we love to do, because you get a chance to test them out, try them, see how they work. One of our clients that we have right now was a really great client, because they allowed us to try 4 different systems, 4 different vertical farming systems all at once to figure out which ones work the best. Now that we know which ones work the best, we're going to take those 2 out of the 4. We were choosing 2. We're going to take those 2 and scale them up in a new location. So they went from like a 500 square foot, maybe even less, to like a 5,000 square foot facility. We're going to scale that up and help them really increase their production. So yeah, this is what we do. Check it out. Here are the steps to our process. First, we try to get together, do an on-site evaluation, gather information about your site. We do an evaluation. We use a benchmarking system so that you get actual numbers about how well are you doing when it comes to sustainability. We'll make some recommendations that are definitely cost effective, and we'll help prioritize those recommendations too, because there's gonna be a lot of things you can do. You can't do everything at once, and we understand that. So trying to break it down to what can I do when, we'll help you figure that out. We'll help with implementation, making sure that everything gets set up the way that you want it to. And then we'll also follow up with you and monitor and support you so that you can make sure that it's not just a one-time hit, and that you have all this equipment, that you actually know how to use the equipment, and that the equipment is actually doing what it's supposed to do, so you get your return on investment. So that is what we do. A little bit of a blurb about me, a couple of testimonials as well. And yeah, check out the page, schedule that free 20-minute consultation. We can learn more about what you're doing. You can learn more about what we're trying to do. And we can get it popping from there. So that's it. Yeah.
I like it too. And yeah, I was just gonna say, and Asia, you've consulted with people too, trying to get like cannabis licenses and stuff like that. Is that something that you're able to do for people too, or is that just like a one-off type thing?
No, no. I mean, we can help set up, your SOP to get you with your cannabis license. That's something that we've done in the past. We could definitely be willing to do it again. And what the great thing is when you put it in your SOP, you put it in your license, and you think ahead, and you can include things about sustainability, about efficiency, about reducing your risk and reducing your exposures. That's the time is when you're building the plan. That's the time to really, engage with us and to get some input, because it's cheaper to make the change at the beginning than it is to make it,
Mm,
years down the road. So if you're thinking about starting your own cultivation facility, getting your own license, and you're looking for someone who's going to have that different perspective, thinking ahead, trying to reduce your bottom line, because cannabis, yes, it's a cash crop. There's a lot of money coming in, but those wholesale prices are dipping, and they will. And then the prices of things are changing as well. So you got to think ahead. So we're here to help you do that too.
excellent.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll have our next live next week. Snuffy G will be
Yes.
away again.
No,
But
I'm
it's
here next
okay.
week.
You're here next week? Is it the
I'm here
week
next week.
after?
It's the week after. Yeah.
Okay. All right. We'll put Joshua on standby to sit in
Stand
for
by,
you.
Joshua. Don't
We'll
steal
put-
my thunder. Okay.
No, everybody brings something unique to the live. We also there's one of our I guess I'll say colleagues in the space, Sam Milton of Climate Resources Group. He did a really great article in the Cannabis Business Times about sustainability. So maybe on the next live, since you'll be here, we'll pull that one up,
Ooh,
and showcase Sam. And if he's available, maybe even have him jump on and talk
that could
about
be
it a little
fun.
bit. Yeah. All right, everyone. Thank you for hanging out with us, catching this either live or catching the recording. We appreciate your support. Please like, share, spread the word. These algorithms are not fun. So these algorithms are not loyal. So please.
Math.
Yeah. They're not loyal, these algorithms. So please press the subscribe, click the link. I mean, I watch these videos, I watch YouTube, and people, I hear people say this all the time, and I know why. You really need your supporters, your viewers, to help push your content for you. So if you're hanging out with us still, please press that like button. Please subscribe, share it to your network, drop a comment. We appreciate your participation and your engagement. It fuels us. So that's it. Anything else, Snuffy?
I think that's it, buddy.
All right. Mad peace, mad love, everyone. Take care.